Welcome to episode 3 of the TruYou Unfiltered podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Pursley, where our podcast is a guide to navigating life's challenges and achieving a holistic well being. We offer insights on overcoming obstacles in emotional, spiritual, financial, and physical aspects. We simply simplify the process of skill development, helping you reach your goals. Additionally, we provide practical advice on balancing family life while pursuing growth in your business, fitness, and mental well being. Join us for valuable tips to enhance various facets of your life's journey with our guest, Blake Noe, a lifelong friend of mine who started out in sales, working in the home services space, to understanding the ins and outs of the business, to starting his own roofing company. While running his company isn't enough, he also competes in Tough Mudders and finds the most epic places to hike
Ah,
and travel. Let's get into it. I wanted to call this episode Mind Over Matter, Navigating the Mind Body Connection. I figure we could start with that because, again, you and I have a lot of deep convos all the time. And I know there's a couple of things we really wanted to get into today. Um, you know, I know you've been starting this entrepreneurial journey for a little while, and there are a lot of differences from being an entrepreneur, but then having everyone around you not necessarily being an entrepreneur. So if you just want to dive in a little bit on your background of, who Blake Noe really is and how he got to be an entrepreneur.
okay. Yes, that's a good place to start. I
For sure.
appreciate the intro, Kyle. That was a good one. Um,
Yeah, man.
so yeah, I started on my entrepreneurial journey. I would really say when I was about 21 or 22, um, with my dad. That's really when I started getting into the construction industry. Um, Started installing with him. Uh, so we're doing siding, doors, windows, pretty much exterior work. Um, and that's really where I learned how everything comes together. And I was introduced to general contracting and figured out that I need to find someone who needs a service and someone who can do the service and bridge both of those together, creating the best customer experience. And that would become my job. And I've just been working on doing that ever since.
It's crazy, man. I think what's amazing too is as long as people kind of stick to their thing, doors do open up, but there's always like that life of just hard knocks, I guess you could call it, where you just have these few years of just building. Like I know I talked about like how you came from Louisville, Kentucky, moved to Baltimore, Maryland, and like just running that business is totally different. And so just kind of having your finding your feet from underneath you while like I mean, you and I've had talks about just I mean, I not just with your family, but peers, right? Like you and I have a commonality of like just doing this entrepreneurial thing. People having different perspectives. With your dad being in this type of business, what could you kind of do like a compare and contrast? Like where is he strong? Where you found that you were lacking in, and vice versa. Like you run your business one way, he runs it another. What were you able to gain from him, but also how are you able to improve?
Okay. Yes, I'd say um, areas that my dad is really strong in the industry. The first one is craftsmanship. He would really focus on making the best end result for the customer, but it really was like it was really a him thing. It was because like he'd stand back and look at a certain spot, and it's like he wanted that part to be perfect.
Oh yeah.
And it just ended up making for such a good customer experience. So he really showed me how a small thing that might take a little bit more time will pay so much more dividends in the end. And I think my strong suit is being able to bridge the gaps between customer, and everything else that goes on with general contracting. So in my scenario, insurance restoration, facilitating multiple things with one job at a time, times all the jobs that you have. I'd say that that's my strong suit.
So kind of like you have one side where I know in scaling a company, I know perfection can kind of be the enemy of scale a lot of the times, but focusing on like the one or two things that matter. I bring that up because you said your dad was like really focused on the perfection side of things. Do you feel like that's what holds him back? And like, I'm kind of hearing you found your niche in your roofing, in like the roofing restoration. That just a lot of insurance. It's what you've told me in the past. This is all the things that I've learned from you, man. So like,
Right.
bear with me here. So like, I feel like you're able to balance that book of business better. Um, and I say that because you're not necessarily focusing on maybe the absolute perfection, but going back to what I was saying, the one or two things that matter. So do you feel like I know like roofing needs to be good. Like you can't you can't leave a hole. That's for dang sure. I mean, I'm not saying you're not meeting like the perfection, but like is this kind of what I'm trying to get across to you? Is like, do you feel like that's kind of like the difference between you two? Is like you're able to scale a roofing company while you kind of have where he's more of like, I'm going to help out X amount of jobs per month, and I'm cool with that. Is that kind of like the difference, or just correct me on these
Yeah.
things? I'm just kind of going
Yeah.
off, yeah, what I'm interpreting.
Yeah. No. I really think a difference is just in what we both wanted to do, right?
Hmm.
I think he really succeeded in what he wanted to do, which was show me how to do something that is going to give me a fruitful future and really give me lasting knowledge. And he did such a good job of that. And you know, I just um, I want very big things, and that means managing a lot of jobs. Really scaling something, and the way that I really see how to bring my dad's perfection into scaling a large company is if I make sure that they have that customer centric attitude, they really care about what the customer gets at the end of the day, then I will still maintain that level of quality that my dad would like to see at a job.
Got it. So conclusion to that, because I have loads of questions to ask you, dude. So your dad gives you a foundation to like what you're able to grow off of, and I think like shout out to dads, right? Like I mean, they don't get a lot of appreciate. And I'm not gonna say appreciation, but a lot of recognition is what I'll say. What if that's the same thing? Whatever. But like that's just kind of what I think about, man. Is like the foundational side of things, and just like my dad was like more in the military area. He like never wanted me to quit anything, and it made me stubborn to continue like growing. But like the other half is like on the perfection side. What I'm getting from you is you're able to make sure you're selling a good product.
Yes,
Dude, I
yes.
have sold bad products. I've developed bad products myself, and I've had to refund customers to just go back to square one. So, like, kudos for you to focus on the product first before scaling. That I just want to commend you on that, dude. Just to humble myself, dude, real fast. Like that's what's up, man.
Hey, I think it's there's a little bit more when you gotta pay somebody back, right? So you're doing
Yeah.
you're really doing the right thing, I got out cheap.
I feel it. Yes, yes, you did. Very, very cheap. So like that's kind of cool, right? So this is like a perfect segue into like, a lot of people, a lot of business owners. I won't just say people, but I'll nail it down to business owners for right now. A lot of people, there's like two different perspectives, right? You have one individual who's mainly focused on sales or promotion, networking, right? Relationships. The other half is like the operations product guy, you know? You can see why like these are both important because if you can fuel that, that's gonna make you money. But obviously, if that product sucks, you're gonna fail, right? So in this process of doing this years and years and years, like how many times? I mean, there's this thing called like the laws of average, right? You probably already know about that. I know you know about Mr. Stewman and Apex. Apex, I believe, is they have like a mastermind and all that stuff you're familiar with, and he calls it like the laws of average. And I like how he talks about that because something you wanted to kind of go over was like how people's minds, want to quit on them first prior to succeeding. And so, what did that look like for you? Why? What were the challenging parts, and what was your thought process to get over those humps? You know,
Okay.
developing the product. It was a loaded question. So you're developing this awesome product for home services, right? There is that background process. I mean, it's easy to come out with that overnight success. So what made you keep going? What thoughts were you having, and why did you potentially want to quit?
I I won't say I ever wanted to quit. I
Cool.
always knew there was maybe an audible here or there in the
Yes.
plan.
Yes.
Maybe there was an extension of time, right? But I always knew what the end goal was. Um, a tough time was moving from Louisville to Baltimore. That was a pretty big hurdle because I I had really started figuring stuff out working with my dad. That was when I really started figuring out how to step into the general contractor role. Um, and I was making more money than I had ever made at that point, and everything start was just it just seemed like it was falling into place. And I was working with my dad, so that was really cool. Um, but I had always wanted to see what the world had to offer. So when the opportunity came to move to Baltimore, of course, I wanted to do that. But it was definitely a challenge. Coming out here with no connections, not knowing anybody, not having a job lined up beforehand. Um, they had, they have a pretty strict licensing procedure here in Maryland. In Kentucky, they have zero, even
That's
for a
crazy.
roofer, which is wild. It's just, yeah. Um, but yeah, so went from no license to needing to go through all these different stages. Um, so I had to work for others. At that moment, I just really needed to get a job that paid the bills. Um, so did a couple jobs that weren't really the best. Then ended up at a roofing company that actually was a good company. I learned a lot of good things from that company, and that's where I really learned how to manage all of the jobs in the end. Scheduling all of the jobs. So it's just like uh, that double-edged sword, right? So it was tough, and I had to work a lot of jobs that I didn't really like, and take positions necessitated by money, um, and one of them that paid not as much as I really needed, uh, which was the good roofing company, still taught me a lot of my foundational knowledge. Uh, so,
Okay, yeah. So I could totally see like where you kind of like you're just getting momentum, like you were saying. You're making more money. You're able to work with your dad, and then boom, you move to a completely new city. It kind of reminded me of like the Undercover Billionaire, with like Grant Cardone was in it, on National Geographic. It's like I had no contacts, no phone. I'm about to shave my. I was waiting for that part. I was waiting for you to shave your head and be like, no one know who I was. Like, I mean, that's kind of what it was though, if you think about it. I mean, the rules were kind of changed a little bit. Let me know if you become a billionaire, bro, or maybe you already are and I don't know it.
Hey, man, I'm just glad that after hearing that story, that's what came to your mind. I
I
love that.
swear, I swear. There was this other lady in there too who was ironically a in the construction business too. Huge. It was a lady with a music label. You had Grant Cardone and then this other lady who was in construction, and they like. I'm not gonna go into it too heavy, but like she basically transformed this restaurant into like this massive like farmers market type of thing. But no, that's pretty cool because like again, going back to the foundations, like everything that's happening to you is actually happening for you a lot of the times. And starting from your dad, general contractor role, or like learning, sorry, I apologize, learning the skill sets of the actual job and actually doing the thing, understanding that perspective of moving up to management to where you can actually level with the people that are actually doing the job. Therefore, I could see that kind of going into dealing with customers while running the business. I feel like that's pretty key right there. I mean, in the marketing world, like we also have to hit our goals, hit our numbers, and all that stuff. But at the same time, there's the customer service side, you know. So kudos to you, man, and like that's amazing. So when all that stuff is kind of going on, the rules are changed, and you had to take a step back and actually take a job. And what makes a roofing company? You said like a good company. What makes a company good versus bad? I like just to put it in black
Okay.
and white there. But feel free to go off and to what you think. Like, how would you want your roofing company to be versus companies that need work?
It all starts with the leadership. So, um, the intentions of the person running the ship are everything. And this company was a good company. One of my favorite things about the company, it was called American Design and Build,
Okay.
up in Bel Air, Maryland. Um, the owner, he his the employees there would say, "What would Joe do?" Um, so he would, if there was a
WWJD.
yeah, and if there was a lady, or it could be a man, whatever, a person in need.
Yes.
If there were a person in need, uh, had a roof leak, he would, and somebody took care of that for free, even at sometimes replacing the entire roof for free for that person. Um, they were allowed to make that decision without even consulting him. And I thought that was really cool. Like he was so focused on the customer that he even extended the ability to his employees to say, if that person needs a roof that bad and they can't even pay for it, no way of paying for it, let's just put one up there for free. Um, I think that was really cool to see from somebody in the industry.
Okay. So
So
like,
shout out to him for doing that.
yeah,
If
no,
he
that's
sees this,
amazing.
Joe, that was really cool.
Well, I think something that came to my mind is like I have a mentor that said, like money doesn't really give you happiness, but have you given enough? You know? And so like that kind of I don't know, I thought about that just now. But so like on that end, so focusing more so on the customer side of things and leadership is like the determining factor between that in itself with between roofing companies who need improvements versus someone who does not. Because let's say they both have a good product, right? It comes down to how are you treating people, bringing it back to being a good human and being able to rally good humans up, make sure we're going the right direction.
Right. I mean, among many other things,
Sure.
you
Sure,
know,
yeah.
um, but those are definitely important.
So you talked about leadership though. So there's a lot of different leaders out there. I mean, you have people. I mean, here's the crazy part. Like, let me go real crazy just for a second. You have freaking in this world. in the past history, we've had some crazy leaders, man. I mean, yes, we've had some crazy presidents, but Germany is being led by freaking Adolf Hitler, bro. And France, Napoleon Hill, or not Napoleon Hill. We like Napoleon Hill, but like, wait, I'm trying to remember who's the other guy. The short, yeah, his name is Napoleon Hill, right? Or am I
Uh,
confusing the guy with the book? Think and Grow Rich is
yeah,
Napoleon.
yeah,
Oh my God,
Napoleon book.
help me, Napoleon something.
Um,
It's okay, dude. But we know. I think it's just Napoleon. I think that's just what it is. I'm about to Google it
there we
real
go.
fast.
People know who
It's
you're talking
totally.
about.
Yeah. No, you're good. But
He's a household name,
here, no,
Napoleon.
it is Napoleon Bonaparte. Napoleon Bonaparte. We like Napoleon Hill. Okay.
Where
We'll get canceled.
I keep seeing these thumbs pop up. Where is that coming from?
Oh, on your end, like on the screen.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
know. I mean, it could just be like some type of graphic setting that I don't know about. That's something that I've never heard of
It's
that.
like a it's like a Facebook one. Is this live on Facebook?
Not currently, no. We'll be actually
Okay.
putting this on the good old YouTube, and from there it'll be published to everyone. We'll stream soon. That'll be
Okay.
coming soon, guys. So if whoever's listening, like, yes, that's coming down the pipeline too. We are right now exclusively on YouTube, and then from there we will distribute accordingly across different platforms. But
We'll see
going
it.
back to the whole
We'll,
leadership stuff, man, like you've ran into some interesting leaders, maybe, at different organizations. And some people have good morals, some people necessarily do not on the way up to reaching their goals. Can you talk to us a little bit about that? The importance of, like, again, reaching the top with your morals intact, just what I'm kind of getting at.
right. Super important. To me, it's important. Um, it's like it's like they ever say, don't meet your idols, right?
Oh, sure.
Uh,
Yes.
you think like, man, I would really like to get in these rooms and meet with these people and, sit at this dinner table, right? And then you finally get out there to that spot with these people and you hear the things that they're talking about when the camera's not on them. And, it just sometimes uh, a lot of those things just aren't conducive with the things that I believe.
Yeah.
Um, so,
You can speak freely, man. I mean, at the end of the day, like, I've met some people like in my background, like, just with in the marketing world, dude. I found out that they're releasing their Lamborghini, you know,
right.
and like they would, get a little fancy watch or whatever, but it's really like their friends, like it's the stupidest thing in the world. But then, like, when you meet them in person, it's like not the case whatsoever. Or they'll take results of past companies and pass them on as their own, and then they end up getting exposed. You know, Does there, like,
Right.
what's it look like in the roofing area? I'm assuming that's kind of where you're seeing it the most, or is it like across different, or are they all the same? Like, what are you seeing? There's a lot of
Yeah, my
copycats in my area. Like,
right. I mean, my experience is really just as the tax bracket gets bigger, you know, um, the waters get a little bit more murky, right? Um, so you really have to just if those things are important to you, you just have to pay attention to the people that you keep around you. But I look at a lot of things maybe a little differently, like leasing a Lamborghini, right? On one hand, one could say that you know, that's Napoleon Hill-esque, right? One of the things that he says in Think and Grow Rich
not
is
Napoleon Bonaparte, Napoleon Hill, guys.
he says uh, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
So he even did that at one point in that book. He talked about how um, he went to a hotel that he really couldn't afford, but it gave him a little more credibility being at that hotel. Um, so Um,
I love
you
that.
know,
That's good.
it's
Love
not
it. No,
always
I'm so happy you said that though, because like, yeah, I mean, because leasing also is a tax strategy as well. You know, like that's a whole thing in itself.
right. So, you know, um, I don't know. You know, it's not a it's a gray area for sure.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough, man. It's always curious to see because here's the thing, man. You probably meet with a lot of people in person, and it's different online. We always say it all the time when we go to our like little mastermind events or what have you, and it's like, oh, you're actually a real person. I'm not AI as nowadays, right? And I don't know. It's always fun to see like the different perspectives. Like you said, don't meet your idols, the people that are helping you out, like to become more successful. It's always a different feel when it's in person, and you really get to feel their energy, right? And I know you're a huge fan on energy. We've talked about, lots of different books. Like I got Robert Greene somewhere in the back. You have like 50 of those books. I swear, you how many books do you think you have with Robert Greene? Like the 48 Laws of Power, and that's the only one
Yeah.
I've really focused on. But like, there's like I can't even remember, tell you the truth, all of them at this moment in time. But he has like laws of a lot of different subjects.
Yeah, he's got a couple. I'd say I have most of them.
Yeah, I guarantee it.
I haven't read all of the ones that I do have because they're pretty thick. You've seen the books.
Yeah, dude,
Um,
like they're freaking like almost a freaking Harry Potter book. But I think the thing
yeah.
I was thinking about, man, is the energy side. Like I hired a focus coach or an alignment coach a little while back, and um, Blake Schofield is actually amazing. She helps out either people who are owners of companies, or she actually helps women find like their job, their dream career, right? That's like her coaching program. And we always talked about energy and how much energy we're storing into each other, but also again going back to everything that's happening to you is happening for you. And it's like some of the stuff we go over isn't necessarily it's not necessarily I don't want to say by accident or coincidence because like there's always like that higher power type of deal where as long as you're focusing on trying to do better in this world, doors I believe are just going to open up for you. A lot of times people say that you're just one phone call away from the opportunity of your lifetime. It's kind of funny too because it always goes into the marketing perspective of like you're one funnel away from hitting XYZ or one lead away from getting your a crazy roofing job just to kind of segue it over into you. But energy, man, like do you feel like what's your views on like the higher power side of things as far as energy goes? Like, do you feel like it's a real thing? Are you kind of in between? I've had my moments where I'm kind of in between. I kind of got brought up in the church, to tell you the truth. So I kind of had like a moment where I was separated from that and didn't really focus on that. But then there's the other half where like, man, that's a miracle. I don't know where that came from. So, in this journey, man, you've had some peaks and valleys. Is there a higher power? How important is that to understand from your perspective?
Um, there's definitely a higher power. I'm I'm more of the good and bad, right? There is a very obvious good in the world, the universe. There is a very obvious bad as well, and all of those things could be, everything that's good is you could call that God, or insert um,
Whatever.
insert person to you pray to here, right? Um, everything that's good is just that higher power in the world, right? And everything that's bad is, what you've been told is the devil, or you know, that's really the way that I see it. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it looks like. Really, when I think about it, I think of like, energy like out there in the universe, right? Like, I don't know, like if you just looked at space and it was just stars, and you were like out there with no body, just like the essence of
Infinite.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
just like out there floating. I feel like the good and bad is like very much that it's all connected to each other. You can't have one without the other. Um,
Oh, that's fire right there though. Like you can't have one without the other. If you fed your negative side when you were transitioning from Louisville to Baltimore, that could have put you in a totally different position.
yeah,
But then
yeah,
decided to feed the other fire, which is more of the positive side of things. I'll say positive is interesting. I mean, right now this is fine, but the more productive side of things. I find a lot of times, we're not necessarily in the most productive state when you're focusing on the negative side. But sometimes it's important to see that, but not to cut you off, man. I was just thinking about that, and that was just a real cool pinpoint to kind of bring up. If you have that higher power and you have the positives and the negatives, one cannot survive without the other. Um, it just depends on which one you're wanting to feed, huh?
right. You know, whatever what you do with that energy, right? It's
Mhm.
really we just have a the only thing that we can control is the way that we react to the life that is happening to us. We can create a lot of things for ourselves, right? But we are also responding to life as well.
And thank God for second chances too, man. Because like
For sure.
sometimes, dude, we don't necessarily choose the right door, so to speak.
Yeah,
Like I remember, quick flashback. For people who are familiar with Hillview, Kentucky, well, like not it's in Louisville, Kentucky, basically, but in the Hillview area, there's just like gas station. We call it the 5 star, the 5 star gas station, and I ran into this guy out of nowhere. I think this is like where you were about to start getting into the roofing area. This was actually before I even got into maybe the marketing space, or I was just kind of getting started into exploring entrepreneurial things. But people who are listening, you will understand that I used to run with the wrong crowd, and that it set me away from where I needed to go. And what I love about Blake here, we haven't really talked about it much, but like he kind of has his own background. And if you want to share anything like that, anything in that background prior to then, but like, you can. I'm not gonna force you to do that, but it's just like going back to second chances and thinking about here's where we are and here's where we've been. It's kind of funny because it's like at that point in time we were learning the skill sets before we became the general contractor. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, here, how can we learn how to not get in trouble? Like, or how can we figure out how to, you know, persuade people to buy stuff from us? Like, I mean, that's the whole entire thing. Skill sets, right? Before you learn the skill sets, that's kind of like what I'm referring to, you
right.
know. And so, do you feel like people who just simply make bad decisions are just people who just have a lack of skill set? If we had to dumb it down, like, what's your
I
perspective
wouldn't.
on your
I
background and all
wouldn't. I wouldn't say that. I
that?
mean,
Okay.
I think it's people have free will, right? And a lot of, at the end of the day, everyone has their own experience. I know for me, I had to learn things the hard way. I hung out with everyone that, parents would not want their kid to hang out with, but I wasn't, I wasn't necessarily a good kid either. I don't think parents really, um, you know, I wasn't their favorite either. But parents actually always did like me. But that's just because I knew how to talk to them. Um,
Look at him.
but
Look at him. I feel it. Yes, I
I
know what you're talking
I
about.
am I am
Yes.
I'm very thankful for my experience though. Um, you know, going um, going away for a couple years, right? It teaches you a lot of very, very important lessons. I was young at the time when it happened, so 17 to 20. Uh, I was I was locked up and came home and felt like I was behind. And that was exactly what I needed. I needed to go sit down and think about the trajectory of my life. And I needed to figure out what I needed to do to get where I wanted to be and actually make something of myself. I looked around every day at the people that I was around, and I saw that the world right now considers me the same as all of the people in here. And that's not saying that everybody that goes to jail is a terrible person, but it's not full of the best and brightest, right? Um, and I really like um, that just really gave me a lot of motivation to prove really to myself, like I am who I think I am. Like I think, like I said, when I was looking around, I was thinking to myself, like, I'm better than this. I can do a lot more than this, and it just made me really say, well, that's your job now. Go out and prove that. And so I'm thankful for it. I'm really thankful for that.
Dude, I mean, I haven't been to jail, thankfully. I know we've had conversations while you were in there, like what way back when. That was pretty cool, by the way. I didn't even know what like JPay was or anything like that. Like, like
Yeah.
just being real. But like, dude, you're just like so self-aware, and having a chip on your shoulder to want to like just do better, having something to prove is what I kind of like think about, and the gratitude piece. It like that is super deep because there's a lot of things that you've went through and how do you navigate that mentally, right?
I
And
think
so
the
yeah,
the um the there's really no navigation needed. The ship kind of steers itself as far as like the mentality. How does that play out? Like after that experience,
right.
every single day is a great day. Every day, every day out here living my life, doing what I want to do is a great day. You can't hurt me after that. So,
Like on borrowed time almost like you're not necessarily dead, but it's like kind of one of those deals where like you're like on I can't you can't really call it borrowed time. I feel like it's not the right words, but like I think it's
it's
somewhere in
like
between.
limbo.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you're in the Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
And you're
with
like,
Rod
dude, what's going
Sterling.
on?
Dude, have you
Yeah,
watched that show? I actually really love that show, man.
So
Like,
I didn't necessarily get to watch it. I just like knew a little bit like of snippets of it, and like when I was a kid, uh, like we used to listen to like little stories and like just little cassette tapes. Dang, dude, that's freaking crazy. Little cassette tapes, dude. Put them into the radio. We're like 5 years old or whatever, listening to some like story before we go to bed, and one of them was like more like Twilight Zone ish. And dang, I'm really like pulling this one out right now. This is like forever. This is like forever ever ago. This is like over 20 years ago, dude, and I'm still remembering this. This is crazy. Um, it was like this like chick would never stop shopping, and next thing you know, like she gets stuck in this infinite loop. And this infinite loop is like her losing her friends, going shopping, spending all of her money, and losing everything, and just keeps happening over and over again. It's like here's a Napoleon Hill reference: outwitting the devil, the hypnotic rhythm, right? And the
okay.
yeah, it's like it was one of those. And so maybe like, do you feel like when you were in there, you think you were like just kind of like, oh shit, let me get out of this little cycle and then just blow up? because you had to come up with a plan, right? And then I feel like that's kind of what happened. It's kind of the vibe I'm getting with it. Whether you say it or not, I feel like that's kind of what happened. Is you just broke a rhythm, and you were just sick of being this individual, and you just wanted to level up. I think that's all it comes down
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, because the plan was just come out and make it happen. I knew
Mm.
what I want my life to look like. I've always known what I wanted my life to look like. And that's all I knew was I need to make that happen. I really didn't know what I was going to do when I was there because up until that point, like I said, I left when I was 17. I didn't have like skills like that, like aside from of course I had like, I was smart, right? I could I've read a lot of books, right? But
Yeah,
those don't translate into a career, what's going to pay my bills. I didn't really know
actually
exactly
doing
what
the
I
thing.
needed to do. Right. So I came home and, at some point it was a while, it was about a year or 2 years after, then I started working with my dad and learning the construction industry. Before that, it was just like maintenance jobs, like really hard work. Like I worked at a mine one time.
You work in
That
a
that was
mine, dude?
yeah, dude.
A
That was
miner
the
49er?
yes,
Dude, I did
sir.
not know that.
Dude, that was the hardest job that I ever had. It was a limestone mine. It's right there in Louisville.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, dude, I drove really big equipment. That was cool. So I learned how to drive pretty much anything Caterpillar, Komatsu, even flipped one of them.
Guarantee it.
Um, yeah, but super hard work, man. So just had to come home and figure it out.
And it's funny too though, because like I feel like the theme of it has been going back to foundations, and it's like you're going back, working with your dad, getting this skill set, and then being able to grow through that. So, what's it been like now starting your own roofing company?
It's been
What's
awesome.
been looking like?
It's been awesome. It's been everything that I knew that it would be. It's been everything. Uh, Everything that I needed for my life, right? That next evolution of me, it's the the speed at which I'm being forced into that next level is really nice. That pressure feels really good.
You're like back at home, huh?
Yeah, yeah. This is something different. It's
So,
it's exciting.
are you going into more of the restoration side of things with the working
Yes.
with the, okay, and with that, is that like, and just so like I'm understanding, and for those listening, like, is this where you're able to leverage the insurance company off of storm damage on roofing? Now, it can just be maybe storm damage is too specific. Maybe go off on that a little bit more of like what this means necessarily, because I know roofing companies, right? I can go somewhere, I can find a roof that needs repairing. I'm going to hit them up and see if they need repairs or need a whole new roof. What's
Right.
different, right?
Okay, so that's mostly everything. But the only difference is it's not just weather, right? So someone could catch their house on fire while they're cooking. I could come out there and I could fix that for them. I could facilitate that insurance claim. I could deal with the insurance company, and then I could get their home put back together for them.
Your whole
Uh,
house.
the whole house.
That's even
I could
bigger, dude. That's crazy.
I could
Okay.
take care of that for them. Most of our work is due to weather, though. So most of it is wind or hail related. So hailstorm comes by, or even just really strong winds comes by, damages a roof, maybe the siding, gutters of a home, causes a leak. Right? We come out there and we would secure your home, cover the leak for you if there was a leak present, and if not, we would just show you the damage and show you how you can work with your insurance company to get that taken care of.
Well, now, do you take care of all the insurance side of things? Like, how much does the customer have to do after they've filed the claim? Do they file the claim or do you, right? Like, take me through, like, from maybe a high level view, A to Z, just like how I do the marketing. We have an ad, we have a landing page, we target them, we get them leads, and then we're able to get booked appointments for financial advisors by using live webinar events. What does that look like for you? What's your like process
Yeah,
for all
so
that? High
we
level view. So if like a customer is like listening to this and saying, "Hey, I'm in that area, I want to work with Blake," like what's this whole thing look like?
Yeah, so I really like to look at it as kind of like a claim concierge, right? Like I am here to serve this entire situation up into a very nice end result, right? And I need to make that easy for the customer because claims, a lot of people haven't even filed a claim, much less read their policy and understand how that affects them and what they need to do in the event of X, Y, or Z type of damage. So after they get that claim filed, which we can file it together. I can't file it for somebody. But if we are together, I can speak with your insurance company and help you get a claim filed. Once that claim is filed, they would just give us a claim number, and whenever I have that, then I can work with the insurance company. We would meet them on site. After we meet them on site, they would let you know what they would be taking care of, and we would install any work that they are saying needs to be done. And then let's say they said that there wasn't enough damage. They were only going to pay for a couple shingles or a couple pieces of siding. Then it's my job to educate the insurance company on the manufacturer specifications and recommendations for these products and the building codes that a licensed contractor has to follow to make these repairs happen. Usually ends up resulting in full replacement.
So a lot of these insurance companies aren't even fully educated in that.
Unfortunately, not about building practices, which that's okay. They have other things to learn. They're learning, adjusting, but it would be nice if a lot of times they deferred to a contractor more, um, because sometimes they like to present themselves as the building expert and say, hey, no, we don't do that, and these things are not like they're not things that we just get to abide by whenever we want to. Like a building code is a building code is a building code. It has to always be followed.
And there are other different codes in like the United States for each state. Does it vary? I would assume since
Yes.
Louisville's not as strict as Baltimore.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely different everywhere.
And what service areas do you help out? Like how big is your radius?
Maryland and Pennsylvania at the moment.
Okay. I got a sneeze going on, bro. I'm trying to fight it right now. It's like not.
Ah.
I'm about to mute it. I'm like, all right, well, it's not coming. I guess it's just I was just saying like blueberries or
Oh.
thinking about roofs and all that. I'm waiting for my freaking sneeze to just to come out. It's not coming, dude. I was waiting for it too, cause like you know about allergies here in Louisville, so it's crazy.
Oh, that's
Are they bad
cutting
up
out a
there?
little bit. I did not hear any of that. I didn't hear any of that.
Oh, can you still hear me? Still good?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
You can
It
hear
uh
me?
it started
Okay.
freezing.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I got you. No good. You're good. I was just gonna say, you know all about the seasonal allergies here in Kentucky, so I don't know how it is in over where you're at now.
Dude, I don't get allergies. You
Yeah?
know.
Yeah, I don't get
No.
sick. I don't get
Nature
tough.
nature loves me, bro.
Yeah?
Like, yeah,
It comes down to that energy, bro. That's what
yeah.
No, but I was gonna say like, so you have so you say your states again. So you have Philadelphia, you have Baltimore,
Maryland.
right? Maryland. Okay, so keep going. Is that just those two, or are you able to find? Because you go to New Jersey a little bit, or no?
Not for work.
Not for
No,
work.
so
Okay.
right, so right now we're only licensed in Maryland and Pennsylvania.
Okay. Cool. So like going, it's crazy though. Like all the insurance companies just like they just give you money, but then they're like, I don't have all the building specifications. Thank goodness for you there. It's like I feel like if anyone were to come to you, it's like I feel like they should get a consultation just on how policies work. Unfortunately, like here's
I
what they can
wish.
do. Here's what's right, and here's what's necessarily needs a little bit more facts behind it to make it right.
Yeah, I wish that it was like that, but the um, I am actually not even supposed to talk to a homeowner about their policy. Um, that could be considered as the unlicensed practice of public adjusting, and there's actually laws around that. So I can get in trouble for helping a homeowner understand their home insurance policy. So it's very important that they understand it on their own. I can put them in touch with resources that will help them do that, but I actually cannot do it myself, which is crazy when you think about it.
That is crazy, man. So, I'm gonna like, are your referral partners kind of like people in that realm? So, like, financial advisors lean on CPAs and tax strategists. Not all the time with tax strategists, but like, we'll just say CPAs and bookkeepers. They'll get their clients to work with them on wealth management, retirement planning. Like the golden goose lays the golden egg type of deal, you know?
Right.
So,
My
like,
referral partners,
yeah,
um,
go ahead. Yeah,
yeah,
it's good.
my referral partners, realtors, I've done a lot of work with realtors in the past. Um, Anyone who does paintless dent removal, right? Services vehicles after they get hailed on. That's a good referral partner for me. A tree service, someone who does that, and these are all mutual referral partners, right? If someone
Yeah.
has a car that is dented, then they have a house that I can help fix the hail damage, right? Same if I find the hail damage, they most likely have a car that now needs repairing. Same with trees, right? High winds come through. Uh, if shingles are getting blown off, trees are getting knocked over, right? So I would say those are my top three.
I always say,
Realtors,
oh, go ahead.
go.
Realtors and what?
Yeah,
Real,
just realtors, tree service, and paintless dent removal.
I love that. I was gonna say a lot of a lot of local businesses are like intertwined, like going into like taking us out of the matrix for a second here. Like, uh, I'll tell people that are just getting into business, I'll be like, hey, listen, because a lot of these people I'm referring to are actually people who are just beginning their marketing journey for local lead generation. Like, that's like their main thing. And I'll say, listen, they'll pick one niche, and I'll say, hey, go make relationships with these people. But these people also, there's also people who talk to your people. And I go into how it's like every local business is intertwined somehow, some way. So you have realtors to roofers, to tree services, to, I mean, I'm going to reverse to the insurance side of things because they may need some insurance to cover some of those jobs. Or, I mean, heck, home insurance for real estate, and obviously insurance for what you do. But then there's car insurance, and then chiropractors from people getting in car wrecks, and then they talk to a personal injury lawyer, and it's like these are all like intertwined to where like how that's money makes the world go round. That's all I'm trying to say. Like, that's just kind of what I'm seeing across it. So it's really cool to see, different type of people that you can work with just because of where you stand with maybe not just the type of work you do, but maybe even with the opportunities you have with the insurance and restoration and all that. Because then you can actually go after even bigger contracts too, and you're not stuck to how much someone can pay. You can really focus on like quality of service,
Right.
which is something that you like to have in a top crushing roofing company.
Hey, it matters.
I love
You
it.
know,
Yeah.
if you're not providing, I mean, that's the whole guise of the system that we live in, right? That's why a free market works. It's based on uh, the best product, the best service. The person with the best wins, right? The marketplace is always going to decide what they prefer, and it's going to be evident in the numbers produced by the company that they choose. So, as a contractor, my job is, I feel, pretty easy because a lot of the people in the space aren't even trying to compete on the same level. They're not, a lot of them aren't even trying to deliver the best possible experience to their customer. It's just, it's not even a thought at some of these places. So, my competition is really 10% of the industry that are actually wanting to innovate. They're trying to meet the customer where they're at. In roofing, it's very common. Someone says, "Hey, I need you to look at my roof. I want to know how much it costs, right? Can I get a quote?" Yeah, let me come out there, go up on the roof, check it out,
Oh
measure
yeah.
it. We're measuring with satellites now, but still, most everyone, even myself, likes to go out to the house. I need to figure out how to get you a quote online. That's so simple, and a lot of people want that, and they don't want the, oh, let me fill out your information, to give this quote to you, and then it gives it to five contractors. So they just want a price, So just put it on your website.
Well, how would you do that? Because like of different variables, like how would that work?
So
You're gonna put it on your website. Like this roof is this size, this roof is that size. Like, how would that work?
So I would just utilize a service that does it. There are a couple different services in the industry that have an automatic estimating tool that would allow you to connect it to your website, and then
Oh,
people can just go type in their address, and
yes.
it would measure their property, it would bill me for it, and it would spit out the price to them.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yeah, easy as
I love
that.
it. Yeah, I like that. Okay, cool. So, um, when you're starting this company, I mean, so you've started this company is what I really meant to say.
Yes, sir. Got the
How are
trademark and
you?
everything.
I know it's fantastic. I'm so proud of you, dude. It's crazy. So super crazy. Um, so I like to think of three things. Because we have people we have a different vast majority of people that do view this podcast. Typically, you have athletes who are leaving, high school, going into like college or leaving college and getting out of that area to going into a career. And then you also have entrepreneurs, that are trying to acquire skill sets or they already have the skill set and they're trying to, build their nest egg, cash value and all that stuff. Like sales, marketing, finance. What has been very helpful for sales in your job? What's been working pretty well? And then I would like to dive into the marketing question next.
Okay. Sales. What's been very helpful is just being confident about the product that I'm selling. I really stand behind my product. I know what I'm doing. I know how many times I get involved with a homeowner, and by the time the job is complete, they're they're so thankful. They're like, "Wow, I didn't know that I could even file a claim for this. I was worried I was going to have to pay $30,000 for this new roof," and they end up getting to walk away saving a bunch of money for a service they were already paying for. So believing in what I'm selling, that has been number one helping force, I believe, in my sales success.
So leading with education a lot as well, you would say too, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
talking like because people don't know what the policy kind of dive into it, like diving into the policy of them not knowing, but then having to educate them on it, and then themselves getting relieved. It's like they're not even aware of it too. So through confidence and knowing what you know, coming out there as an authoritative type of figure, whether it's in person or virtual, goes a long way. I feel like that's what's happening a lot, man. Just across the sales area, it's a lot of built on education. Like
Yeah.
so, I've had a couple of different ads that worked in the roofing space. So just talking about marketing real fast, I'm just gonna just pull up one on my site real fast. More so, I forget exactly which one it was.
Yeah, I
Let's.
definitely want to know about these roofing ads that work,
I'm gonna
okay?
show you. I'm gonna show you real quick. Yeah, cause like here we go. So
Because I'm looking for appointments.
I feel it, dude. I feel it. Everyone's wanting them. I'm gonna share my screen real quick because I feel like I can share that. So let's see, share screen. There we go. Boom. So
I
this was.
actually am looking for VAs though, so I'd like to get in touch with you about that afterwards.
I got you, man. No worries. No worries. I was just thinking about. Um, this has been something that's worked in the past. I feel like I don't know if it's gonna necessarily because what happens is they fill out this survey of general questions to help qualify them, right? Can you see my screen right now?
Okay, 20, yeah, 20 leads, 14 appointments. Okay,
Yeah. So
nice.
with a lead like that, though, you're paying like $100 probably to Facebook because these are Facebook ads you're seeing,
Right.
and they'll answer multiple questions and all that stuff. And yes, they'll get some jobs sold. It's definitely proven here, but I feel like if I go too much in this direction, a free roof inspection nowadays, I think I ran this like 3 years ago, give or take. Um, and I bring that up to you because like a lot of these free roof inspections, I mean, a lot of places, I mean, you even see here home improvement, we did a free estimate here as well. This is more of a messenger perspective where they hit the actual ad and then you can actually have the conversation with them. This is like a local one here in Louisville, but I think yes, you get Skips Construction. This is for concrete, not even your niche. I'm gonna focus on these two.
Enterprise.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that company.
So they wanted people to actually just like listen. Doing Messenger was where it was at. I'm gonna stop sharing my screen just to kind of talk about those two types of tactics there.
Right.
You have like one where it's like, hey, give me your information, fill it out. You said earlier that hey, they're sick and tired of doing that. Not to say it won't work. I feel like it would work. It's just the cost per lead is expensive. Where you have the other half where it's like you can not worry about someone getting pre-qualified, but having someone actually just communicate to the people who are hitting your ad. Um, what's funny, man, is like helping out like the advisors. We do like live webinar events or automated live webinar events, and it's like they're educating people on like tax planning and stuff, right? And then what happens is a batch of those people book on their calendar. But like with you guys, it's like it's funny. It's like you and I are kind of talking about how what people they feel so relieved after everything and giving me all that background information. I feel like a live presentation would be good, or eventually even an automated one, because it's like where everything's kind of headed in the sales perspective. You might as well just educate people straight up, get people who are the hottest amount of people up front, and then going into that process and working the pipeline.
Okay.
I don't know if
Yeah,
that'd be like I don't know if that'd be like anything interesting, but I'm saying like okay, so that's an idea. That's what's worked in the past, but like what's working right now for you in marketing? So you're getting maybe some referrals. What else has been kind of helpful in that perspective?
right now it's all door knocking, cold calling, and referrals. Um, but I definitely like what you're saying about creating some type of presentation, something on demand for a customer to look at. That'd be very nice. So I look forward to seeing what you come up with, Mr. Pursley. We'll
I'll try,
test it out.
man. I'll
We'll
try. I wasn't
test it
even thinking
out and
about that.
see how
What?
good it works.
I mean, it's been doing okay. I recommend webinarkit.com. Right now, I mean, I do have an affiliate link, but I'm probably not going to provide that right now. But the idea is you can get a lifetime um, deal where you can automate your webinar. So I'll just kind of show you some stuff real fast while we're here, um, and just show the viewers as well what I've been able to do just while we're on the subject. Let me sign out. Let's see here. Okay. All right. Fantastic. So, um, share my screen again. So, webinar kit right here. Um, these are automated ones. So I just started doing these here recently, but basically you can go into um, get a registration link, a watch room, and a control room. And so when you're actually going live on a webinar, um, you can really dive into automating whatever. I'm just going to show you this one. I may have to stop sharing just for a second, just to kind of give you an idea, because it won't let me. I'm going to stop sharing for a sec. There we go. Okay. I'm going to share screen. So this is built off a webinar kit. So what's cool about this is like I can click on this and there's multiple times and it's automated, you know? And when they go into the next realm, they'll watch the video and there'll be different offerings that happen across the board. And so I say that to you because like if you go into webinarkit.com, it's pretty cool because let's see if I can just type it and just stay in here without having to say. I don't want to spend too much time here. I just want this to be known to you because what if you decide to come up with other subject matters and you want to dive into that? At least you have something. So I'm gonna sign out. Pricing. This has been going on, so I won't worry about that. But the lifetime value is $397, and you get lifetime automated stuff. A lot of people want to, it's like there's so many. We're always paying for software, and it's like if you can just eliminate one, that was pretty cool. So just go to webinarkit.com and you can check that out. And then of course they're gonna try to upsell you into like live events and all that
Uh,
stuff. But I mean, I do that for my clients. So we have the live perspective too, but you can transfer like all the live stuff into automation. Um, I've been really appreciating that from a standpoint of like you have so many appointments, but they're not quality appointments, right? How can you improve that quality? Educate and then take the people who actually watched the webinar until the very end, then focus on those people to get them on your calendar. And you can have a VA, you can go to onlinejobs.ph, and you're good to go. So that was something I find to be helpful in that perspective.
okay, I'm just writing these down right now.
Oh
No,
yeah,
I'm
dude, this is
very
all about you, man. Here's the thing, like it's really cool to be able to like to give you some things, but like also just to kind of see a different perspective of the world that you're in, because I feel like, excuse me, a lot of people in the solar niche they've been more focused on doing digital, and it's really encouraging to see that it's not just them, it's you all as well. Now we just gotta
yeah.
get all the plumbers and HVAC people.
They're coming. They're coming.
Yeah.
I That's one thing I'm very thankful about the way that you can get leads in my industry. Because you said lead quality. When you're door knocking, you're picking the lead, right? So it's
Yeah.
it's of the utmost quality. I know that this is a roof that I want to do before knocking on it. I know that it is qualified because it is a specific type of shingle or it's a specific, it's at least 10 years old, right? There's some reason that I'm able to see why I want to knock on that door, so lead quality is perfect.
Well, yeah, man. Like a lot of people, like I'm sure you've talked to plenty of people in the marketing area, and they're always like, "Yeah, I can get $2 leads, $5 leads, and whatnot." And it's a name and email and phone number. And it's like they don't even know where you came from. Like, and then, dude, have you seen all like the texting, like the new texting laws that have came out with A2? They call it uh 10 DLC. It's something that is around um carriers and authentication because of spam.
Okay.
People getting hounded over text messaging, and yeah, it's starting to get even more restricted now. And so it's something to look into.
Yeah,
Because
I
when you say
definitely have to
mass
check
text
that out.
messaging, I had a client one time, dude. He gave me like 12,000 leads, and we sent out 5,000 text messages. And come to find out, after the fact, we found out he got suspended from texting, blacklisted his stuff, and we came around and asked the client, we're like, hey, were these leads, did they consent to you? And he bought the leads. I'm not gonna name drop or anybody, but I'm just saying like it was like one of those things where like it's either you're buying leads off someone they've already been generated and they're not exclusive to you, and that's like something that's kind of going away. But then you have the other half where um, you also want to get in good hands with the carriers and make sure they do consent to you. So when you're on a webinar and you're getting them to register, it's like they've heard you talk for God knows how long, and going into the next steps, they know who you are. If they say stop, they're not going to be that as frustrated or anything like that. And so keeping your brand intact while being able to filter your list on who's the most serious versus who isn't, right?
That webinar kit, it seems like a very good way to um, really get ahead of a lot of things in the sales process with the customer, right? Answer a lot of questions before they arise. If you can get them to go through that. Now, can you see how far they get through on there? Like how
Yes,
many
sir.
modules they watch? Okay. Yeah,
Yeah, you
that'd
can do a
be
lot
a
of
good
cool things
solution for that.
too. Oh man, you know what blew my mind? I have a guy who does a lot of the tech stuff. You've met him, Brandon.
Mhm.
You can with our CRM with Webinar Kit, you can have, let's say had three subjects you wanted to go over. Maybe it's the restoration side of things, the building process, and maybe there's some do-it-yourself treatment things you can do. Right? I'm just coming up with some ideas. Like you could literally send traffic to that very first webinar and then have them like automate it to where they get invited to the next one and the next one. That way your whole prospect is educated, and then there's a lot of trust built too. With that, it's crazy. It blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, just broke the internet just there. Like I didn't even know. But I'm anyways like yeah, I just figure I don't see a lot of people in the roofing industry even think of webinars. I'm like, I don't even know what you would do, like how you would kind of go about it, but based on your sales process and what you're doing already, you're bringing a lot of light to homeowners.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I would use it for. I would use it for education for homeowners. A lot of times people don't really want that much information, right? But then there are a lot of people who do want to know, how is this going to affect me in the future? What type of shingles are we using? All of this information comes out kind of in due time in the sales process, right? The
Sure.
shingles come after it's approved, stuff like that. But sometimes people want to know all that information right there from the beginning. That would be a good opportunity to go ahead and give them all of that information.
Dang, dude. And like even then, you could literally just, hey, all right, you know who we are? You can book the call here, like at certain points of the actual presentation. Because like, you can't answer everything. You want to do your best to do that, but like, there's always some type of outlier and people are goofy, like you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, so here's a curveball for you. So sales, marketing, I said finance earlier. So this is a startup, right? I know you've been doing this for years. Okay. A lot of people discourage the fact that just because you're starting a new brand or company doesn't mean you can't be successful. There's always a lot of things in the background, like we've covered with you already. Um, Going into this new venture, all that stuff. How are you can go as deep as you want? How would you, as a startup, how would you be managing your finances? Like what have been some awesome strategies that you could pass down to people who are just starting their first company or second company that could benefit,
Okay. I would say really understanding what is going in, what is going out, and when things need to happen. I know that helped me a lot in hitting my goals as far as target target date for starting, right? Or for having XYZ taken care of. Just understanding that from the beginning and figuring out when you need everything.
Okay, so what's fun? I like about that is I've been preaching to my team the way to win wars is through anticipation, and
Okay.
Ironically, it's from the Art of War book, but also that's literally kind of what you're talking about is anticipation. So
Yeah.
I like that. I like that. A lot of people are oblivious to that stuff too. That probably helps you make data-driven decisions there too. I know emotions can kind of get intertwined with things, but as long as you can stick to that data, seems like that'd be pretty beneficial, huh?
Yeah. I mean, it definitely helps, starting when starting a business and running a business, cash flow is very important. So, you really need to have an eye on how things need to be spent. And sometimes 2 weeks can make all the difference.
Can you give me an example? 2 weeks, all
Okay.
the difference. Give me a fun little, yeah, little deal with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, let's, you need a CRM, right?
Sure.
Um, but you're choosing between two different companies, and you can, with one of them, you can have um, like a 2 week trial, right? You can't have a 2 week trial with the other. Um, Maybe it's worth it to see, since you're going to be making a decision for the rest of the year, it's worth it to see for 2 weeks, is this solution going to work out for you? And then now, since you have that data already of what is coming in, what is going out, at which time, you know that you could use, you could possibly use that for something at the moment, since it is being deferred for 2 weeks.
I like it. I like it. That's awesome. See, if, I want to be sure I didn't forget anything for the most part. There was a lot of cool things because, like, when I think about, coming from where you've came from to now, I think a lot of it comes down to you said earlier about how just kind of letting things play out, but then now even translating into business, you have to give it that time to where you can anticipate to what happens next. So it's kind of like cool to see how you do one thing is how you kind of do everything,
Yes.
And the thing comes to mind is soft offense, leaving room for a miracle as well. Because sometimes like we get too stuck into our calendars or rigidness or like a process, like 100% of the time as well. And I think fitting in that soft offense deal gives you that room to make the decisions you need. And
Okay.
that's
That's
kind
the
of maybe
first
that's
I've
kind
heard
of
of
like
that.
why you're kind of what.
The soft offense.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I've gotten a little bit of training on it. I'm still working. I'm not overall perfect, but like an example uh that for all the examples that you're kind of bringing to me on your process, I see a lot of that. It's not like right out the gate, this is what I'm gonna do and how I'm gonna do it. It's like let me kind of test the waters first, and then when I see the higher end of the improvement, I'm gonna go all in. So that way you're not stuck in decision making mode, and I think that's what separates a lot of people from becoming more successful than others is that decision making factor. But yeah, man.
Okay.
So uh, thinking about trial, we didn't talk much about trialing or anything like that. How was Iceland or was it Greenland? I forget which one. You
It
went to
was
both.
Iceland.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
wasn't
it
too
was
long.
Iceland.
We
Flew
talked
over
about
Greenland.
it. Yes.
Um, didn't see anything in Greenland. It was
Yeah.
all ice.
I heard
But
it's so
Iceland was
funny. It's like
very cool.
opposite.
Yeah.
Isn't it like yeah.
Yeah.
And then so while you're doing all that, starting your company and all that too, are there any other traveling expectations coming up in the future?
Not right now.
No, just
No.
all in, all focused in the company right now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's that time. Um, not I want to go everywhere always.
Yeah,
But I need to sit still for a little bit.
it's kind of been my end of the stick too. I mean, next week, ironically, we are going to Texas. We're going to go into Houston, and never been out that way, so that'll be fun.
Okay.
But
That'll be your
it's
first
about
time
that
in
time
Texas?
soon, huh? Yeah, it will be.
That's awesome. I
I
love
heard
Texas.
tacos are good,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
but I
Texas
heard
has
there's
got
more
a
than
lot
that.
of good food everywhere. The weather's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very
So
flat place, but it's a nice place to be.
I heard here, is this true? Do you know if like this is gonna be so off the wall, but like I heard they don't have a lot of basements because
Yeah, I
the
mean,
land or whatever.
I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. Depends on where you heard it, I guess.
Yeah, no, it was just some actually it was just some lady that was actually living in Texas. She was a former client of ours at
Okay,
one point in
sounds like a
time.
good
Yeah,
source.
I would say so, right? She's like basements because like I'm like this is like where I shoot. I shoot it in our basement, and like she's like basement. What is that, huh? And it was a good old time. But I mean, you've went out there for what masterminds, right?
I went out there for fun. Went out there for a couple different masterminds. Um, yeah,
Talk to me about
Texas is
those.
cool.
Like the masterminds,
Yeah,
how is it making a difference with you and your company? I mean, obviously, you started talking about a mastermind, but then shortly after joining one, you were able to really get this thing off the ground. Like, what, like, did it make a big difference? Or I'm noticing different timelines as you're explaining things, but then we've had
right.
background conversations too, and it's like, what's going on with the masterminds? Talk to me about that.
It was definitely a great addition to my life. Um, I actually uh, joined two of them. One of them wasn't my favorite. I won't mention it, but
Soft
one of
offense.
them, yeah, but it is very important to get around other like-minded individuals who are trying to be the best that they can be. And if you have big goals and you really want to make something happen and you go get involved with the right group of people that are all trying to do the same thing, it's infectious. You can't help but get motivated and walk away from that focused on what your mission is. If you're really going there for that purpose.
Very yes. No, I think about what I'm thinking about is like I've went to different masterminds myself, and it's like you fork out all this money to go there, and you're like, how in the world is this going to come back to me? And then it's like that's from a financial standpoint, like more of a tangible thing. But then like you'll be able to make that one connection that will change everything, and or
Yeah.
get that new perspective that will change everything. And it's a very very like highly underrated that people don't talk about. So when you were at the mastermind, did you just kind of get some triggers of like, okay, you said infectious, so it's like, all right, it's my time to shine type of deal? Is that kind of what happened, or it was like how much? I want to know the time. I want to get very granular real quick. The time you went to
Okay.
that mastermind to when you started that company, like like was it? It seems almost like between months, like not even years in between it, but like months.
So I'm glad that it seems that way.
It does seem that way.
Um, but it's actually been years in the making.
Okay.
It's been for the past couple of years, I really just, it wasn't my time yet. I needed something else. I needed some more information. I maybe needed some more resources, whatever it may be. Wasn't in the right spot yet. Um, and now I'm in that spot. But it's been um, slowly over time to try and build this thing with the proper foundation. Like I said, we have the trademark already. That those things are very important to me. I want a name that is able to be nationwide, and the best way to do that is to go ahead and get a trademark on it. So that's where I wanted to start.
Again, man, super impressive, dude. Is there anything that you would like to convey to someone that is wanting to start their own company and that's, I don't know, maybe potentially holding them back? What is needed? What do you feel like is needed to get them going, or what would be your message to them?
Just bet on yourself. Burning the ships, so to speak, has always worked for me. Like when you put um, when you put that much weight behind failure and what that would do to your life, you force yourself to have no choice but to figure it out. And I would say, get comfortable doing that.
The back against the wall. I love it.
Yes, sir.
I love it. All right, cool, man. Well, let me go ahead and conclude this. I know you've given us so much time. I know we probably went over a little bit, but guys, Blake Noe is gonna be a national treasure if he isn't already in the making. So,
Hey,
make sure to
I
check
love
out
I love
Reliable
the faith.
Build. Yeah, man, I love it. I love it. I'll be sure to put, his Facebook URL in the chat or in the description of this podcast. So you can go check him out. But is it Reliable? Is that what we named it? That's what I got on our form. I just wanted to be sure I had it
Yep,
right. How do we
correct.
spell that?
Rely a build. So just like the word, but rely and build
All
mashed
right,
together.
cool. Make sure y'all check it out on Google. And if you're in the Pennsylvania area or in Maryland, right? Not Baltimore. Or
Yep,
both.
Maryland.
Both.
Baltimore, yeah, it's both.
Yeah, I'll
But the
take
whole
both. You
state.
never, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I know, right? If you're in that area, be sure to check them out. And you never know, you may need a roof, and you might need to get some education on that insurance. But remember, foundations is the key to helping you all succeed to different levels. There's always this gap of where you are and where you want to be, and it's about shrinking that gap. So, Blake, thank you so much, and I hope you have a fantastic day, my man. Thank you all for listening.
Hey, I appreciate it. It's good to talk to you again, Kyle.
Heck
Have a
yeah.
good one.